Now is Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina. Of course, he's running for president. Senator Graham, how are you, sir? Let me start. This is I want to get you to follow up on something you said earlier today. If you think the shooting in California is about gun control, then you don't understand what's going on in the world. Expand. What do you view this shooting as?
Two people got radicalized somehow, had an IED factory in their house, took a bunch of innocent lives based on jihadist view of the world, and to think otherwise is pretty ridiculous. This is not a, they may have had problems at work, but they were intending to do more than that. So I just don't believe this is a gun control issue. This is a kind of a hybrid symptom of radical Islam. They're not on anybody's list, but clearly when he went back to Saudi Arabia, he came back with a plan in mind, and that plan was to kill people based on his religious views.
Senator, this is a American-born Muslim.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not a natural. This is second generation.
Yep.
This is somebody that had a good job, new family.
Yep.
This is not the profile of what we think is somebody who could get radicalized. And we should again say alleged. What is the public policy solution if we don't see this coming?
Okay, number one, I think this is a symptom of a greater problem. ISIL is winning in the eyes of a lot of people in the world, for whatever reason, are drawn to the ideology because they're winning. The day you take Raqqa away from ISIL, the day the caliphate begins to fold, the day you pull it up out of the ground by its roots, things like this are less likely. At the end of the day, you've got to do two things. You got to kill terrorists who are irreconcilable, and you got to get ahead of this and build up the lives of others. A small schoolhouse in a remote region in Afghanistan educating a poor young girl will do more damage to the Taliban than a bomb. But there's certain people that are going to be drawn to this ideology, and the more potent it is in the eyes of the world and the more it's seen as a winner, the more of this you'll have. So destroy the caliphate would be a good step forward.
What do you say to Americans that are concerned now that may sit there and say, I don't believe that a American Muslim can get radicalized like this? What do you say to Americans to tell them not to be afraid?
I'm not afraid of the faith. Our hope lies within the faith. There is a war going on inside of Islam where 99% of those who practice the faith reject what this man did. The only way America will ever be safe is help people in the faith who are trying to reform Islam and destroy radical Islam from within the faith. Our goal, our requirement is to build up others who will reject this ideology. What Mr. Trump is doing is helping ISIL. I just got back from Iraq. When an American political leader suggests that this is a war against all Muslims, they're helping ISIL. I'm not about to follow people around because of their faith or monitor a mosque without a warrant. We're Americans, and you're playing into the hands of the enemy. To the American people, most Muslims are not this way. They're all not the same. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan 36 times now, and I can tell you more Muslims have died fighting this ideology than anybody. We need to help them.
Senator, since you were in Iraq, I want to ask you about this the Washington Post article the other day that talked about that somehow there is a mythology developing that Iraqis are being told that America is helping ISIS. How is this happening? Is this how is this making its way through the Iraqi media culture?
The Iranians. The Iranians are spreading that propaganda to the point that the first thing the Prime Minister asked of John McCain and Lindsey Graham was to help us combat this. He wants more American help. He wants more American Apache helicopters. He wants to neutralize the Shia militia so they can put his country back together again. But he is suffering under the propaganda campaigns by the Iranians that the American presence is helping ISIL rather than the Iraqi people. That was his number one request. Right. Even among more military help, which I thought was kind of odd, so we should take him up on it.
And Senator, before I let you go, why would you vote against prohibiting people on the terror watch list from purchasing weapons?
I want to make sure you have due process. I don't want to take a gun away based being on the watch list. I want you to have a chance to say, wait a minute, I'm not a terrorist. And if you're on the terrorist watch list,
why not add a level of background check then? Why not, if you're on the terror watch list, you know what? There's two or three.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Well, then, isn't that essentially what this bill would have done?
No, it doesn't really have. It just takes your gun away based on being on a watch list. I think there's probably some common ground here. Let me tell you where I think the conversation could go in a bipartisan fashion. There are a million Americans who've been adjudicated a danger to themselves or others at the state level. They're not enrolled in the federal background check system. I'm willing to have the federal government pay for their enrollment, and that puts some people in the system we need to know about.
All right, Senator Graham, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for taking a little bit of time with us. I appreciate it.